What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, we got to talk about Starfield's start screen that seems to have just made a giant wave on social media. I felt this was timely, and this makes sense with, some of our recent Starfield coverage on the channel. And, I talk about console warriors, and I don't even know if this is necessarily a console warrior. I think this is just somebody who's like a notice me kind of vibe. He's feeling left out, or I don't know, whatever the situation with this individual might be. But I talk about fanboys, I talk about really stupid arguments kind of all the time, hypocrisy just across the gaming industry. You could probably slot this in somewhere. And basically, this is a former developer. I've seen this person before. I don't think all their takes are all that bad. This take is absolutely atrocious, though. So this is Mark Kern, who was former team lead of World of Warcraft. He was a producer on Diablo 2 and StarCraft. Like, this is somebody who has made it in the gaming industry and obviously has left and has a lot of things to say about it. And he talks about the start screen for Starfield. And he says the start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Starfield's start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care. Number one, judging a game off of the start screen may be the stupidest thing you could ever do. The idea of like judging a book by its cover or not judging a book by its cover, right? Literally starting up the game, looking at the start screen and saying, I can make an entire narrative of this game based only on the start screen. But honestly, the simple thing here is that it's just so wrong, it's kind of laughable, because the response is do all the work for me. I don't even really have to do much. I could just read other people's or show other people's. Demon Souls, Elden Ring, Ghost of Tsushima. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of games that are very simple, very clean start screens. They mean nothing, okay? And I think that's what people kind of been saying. They mean literally nothing. Most times they are kind of clean. Maybe that's on purpose. You're not meant to play the start screen. I mean, like back in the day, when loading times would be long and some games would have like kind of a mini game you would do in the loading screen. Like there's been things like that, but when you're starting up the game, it's just the screen to, a few quick things, new game, load game, settings, photo gallery, right? Like a few things, you get into it and you play the freaking game. It doesn't matter what the start screen is. And let me just throw in my 2 cents. I actually like it. I like the startup screen of Starfield. Looks rather cool. It's in space. And guess what? The game's in space. So it actually kind of matches the vibe of the game. I don't know. Now, it's just him. However, I mean, there are likes on this thing. There's almost 1,000 likes. Now, it's ratioed, right? It's 100% ratioed. It's got almost as much quote tweets as it does likes. So he's getting absolutely destroyed. But the idea that you can judge not only the game, but you can say the team's rushed based off of the startup screen of the game. Like, are we serious? But again, I think the biggest kind of own that this guy is getting is just literally the comparisons of game of the either past game of the year games, and not to say Starfield is going to. I mean, right? We keep saying that stuff. I have a pretty, I think, level-headed opinion on Starfield, at least compared to people like this. I'm not saying it's going to be the greatest thing of all time, but you look at some of the greatest games of all time, and that's what people are doing, right? Let's look back to Game of the Year of 2020, or what people think of as the best games of this year, right? Look at the startup screen of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They're not fancy. They're like literally nothing. Like, I don't even think about the startup screen of like almost any. The only ones that kind of come to mind, and I've only recently played them, so maybe that's why, like the Yakuza games. And the Yakuza games have like their story, like they do like the really long cinematic kind of cutscene, which is basically like a trailer, right? You get that, and then you press, X or A or whatever, and then it gets you to. So sometimes there's like a cool little cinematic before the actual start screen. Those are the ones that jump out at me, but those don't make or break the game either. They really don't. Maybe it's a little bit more like, high energy, right? Like you're feeling really pumped up by the Yakuza, kind of montage that's going on there, but it doesn't make or break the actual game. This is insane, and it is doing what I'm about to say. Like, this is, I think, a good part of the story. You don't take this stuff seriously. Or I don't. Personally, for me, I'm not going to make the decision for you. I've always been a channel that respects what you guys think as long as you respect what I think. You think whatever the heck you want about this game. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you go into it thinking like this, number one, I can never take this guy seriously about his opinion of Starfield, period, right? After something like this, how could you? You're judging the start screen of a game that he doesn't have, right? He doesn't have a review code. He just saw it online. And you're judging almost like the entire game or the philosophy of the game. You're judging it on that. So how am I supposed to care or like embrace or, agree with his opinion of the base game when that comes out. Like, he just shatters his credibility. And again, it's not just me. I think everybody kind of sees it. So I do think it's a good end of the story. These people need to get lost. They really do. Let's talk about the actual strengths and weaknesses of the game. Can we not do fanboy garbage? Can we not do talking about the starting screen of the game garbage? Can we actually like talk about objectively like the game itself? Or I guess it is subjectively in some cases, right? But can we talk about the game and not this other garbage? I guess for some people we can't. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure as always you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.